Yeah, we've been very busy trying to conclude one or two deals. One deal's moving a lot closer than one or two others. So we want to try and have some positive news by 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. But one deal's getting a lot closer. Sort of, just got to go through a couple of things first, and hopefully that will be a deal that will be done. So I'm not going to give you any names or what position it is. And then obviously after that we're trying to still do one or two other players as well. So time will tell whether how many we can get in. But I think it's a quiet transfer window at this moment in time. I think you look at what's going on, there isn't a great deal of business going on. I think every other manager will be slightly frustrated in what they're trying to do and whether things can happen or not. Yeah, it's wait and see and be patient with it all, but we're working hard to try and get one or two deals done, that's for sure.
Can you explain why it is so quiet? You know, particularly the Championship-wise, because like you said, there's not been a lot happening.
I just don't think there's a lot of money involved around at this moment in time. I think it's just a situation that's in society in general now. There's not a lot of money involved for everybody. You've got to, I think, if you can't go out and buy players, trying to swap players and do loan deals, people are keeping their options open. Premier League clubs are still keeping their cards very close to the chest because they've got so much to lose by allowing players out, and they suddenly have no window to go out and get other players. I think it's a window that sort of people will go out and pay over the odds on, which you've got to be careful about. I think Norwich probably paid over the odds on Johnny for the period of time that he had left on his contract, hence why we accepted it was a good deal. And obviously you've got to be careful that don't go and do that, because there isn't much money around. I'm given a budget to spend and have to spend it very wisely because there isn't a great deal of it.
The one that's quite a way down the line, is that in time for Birmingham, do you hope, or is that a bit...
It might be concluded by then, but it might be a little bit too difficult for him to play so quickly coming to the team. So I think if any deal needs to be done, it has to be done by 12 o'clock possibly today to play for Tuesday night. And obviously as well, it's not ideal that you've got a game on Tuesday night on the day of the window as well. So we're trying to, and from my perspective, concentrate all my efforts really on getting the team prepared for the Birmingham game. I've left sort of a lot of the other stuff in Sean and Gwyn and the chairman's hands to try and conclude. So I'm concentrating really on the football side of it, which in one respect is the most important thing.
I think there could have been a bit more thought in terms of that because in times past when it's been like a Sunday or whatever, we've gone on to the 1st of February, but it's not just the Championship playing, it's the Premier League as well.
Yeah, no, I don't know the reason for it really, and it is obviously a strange decision because you can nearly more or less rule out Tuesday out really from a certain degree, because the players you're getting in are not going to be able to play. But it happens, things are done for whatever reasons, and we just have to accept it.
Departure-wise, anybody? Because obviously Alex Bruce was mentioned last week. Has that moved on?
Nothing's moved on as such yet. I think the window in America is a little bit different. I think it might even be March over there. I think so. It's slightly different. One or two inquiries for one or two of our players still, but nothing concrete as such. And it would help if one or two went out, because it would free up a little bit more budget for me to go and bring in another player or so, because that's what we have to do possibly, get rid of one or two players if I'm to bring another player in.
Bradford said anything with regards to Taylor? Because I know that's something.
Yeah, I think he's going to come back. I think he's been sub for the last couple of games, so it might be best that Charlie comes back. So we'll confirm that later today, but I think it's looking like he'll probably come back. But it'll have been a good experience for Charlie that he's been out on loan, and if we can get somebody else interested in him, then we'll let him to go back out straight as well.
Is Robbie Rogers available now?
Everything's cleared for him to play. As I said, last week he missed probably 3 or 4 days training due to going back to America. So the likelihood of him being involved on Tuesday is probably a little bit slim, because we want to make sure that he's fully up to speed on everything. We don't want to sort of throw him in at the deep end with not having missed a week's training and such. So the more likelihood is that he'll probably be in consideration for the Bristol City game.
You're looking ahead to the game, come up against a side in form. They've had a good run, haven't they, Birmingham?
Yeah, they have. They're a good team. They've got a good squad. They've had a good run in the Europa Cup. What they've got a lot of players that they've kept from the Premiership days. They've kept them. So they've got some experienced players. You look at the back four that they've got this moment in time. They've got Carr, Caldwell, Curtis Davids, Ridgewell and Murphy. They're all experienced players, played a lot of games in the Championship and above. We've still got a young team that are still developing and learning the ropes of the Championship. And they've got some threats in King and Zidic as well. So these boys are not cheap. They've got a big budget that they're going for, and they're a well organised team. They played very well at Sheffield United at the weekend. and it's a real tough game. But we've got a team that are capable of beating anybody in our day. We've taken 7 points out of 9 in the last 3 games, which is really encouraging. Obviously, we'd like the performances to be a lot better than we have done recently, but what we've showed immense spirit and character to keep coming from behind and grinding results out and winning games. And if you were to offer me that every week, then I would take that rather than playing silky football and losing, because that's happened to us this year. But we know that we need to do it probably more consistently over the period of the game, like a 90 minutes performance. And that stems right from the start. And obviously I'm trying to encourage the players to be as positive as they can be right from the start. I'm trying to encourage the supporters to be as positive as they can, because we've obviously mentioned it over the last few weeks that it's been a little bit of sort of a flat atmosphere. I understand the frustrations from the supporters, but obviously we're all trying to achieve the same target, and that's promotion. So if we can right from the off that we can get the roar of the Ellen Road crowd going from the start, that it will give the players some sort of real boost, and it's down to the players as well to give the supporters a boost. They can't just stroll through games and think, well, we'll wait for the crowd to react to us. We have to give the crowd some reaction time. We've got to make sure that we're working really closely together and try and achieve everything that we want to achieve together, and that's ending the season well and producing performances and getting promoted. Because if we win the game tomorrow night, we're in exactly the same position in terms of point situation as we were last year, which isn't a bad situation to say that we've been criticised quite a bit over the last few months.
You think the difference in terms of the outlook as well, that's an amazing stat, isn't it? Because compared to this time last year, everything was...
Well, everything was sort of positive. Everybody was really enjoying the championship. There wasn't the expectancy level. There wasn't sort of anybody saying, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We've basically had a free ride at it, but the expectancy level this year is a lot more. Obviously, one or two other things that the crowd are taking into consideration is that's their opinions. But we've all got to try and achieve the same thing, and that's being positive and vibrant and working well together.
You mentioned the atmosphere. Andy Lonergan at the Morrimers bar week last Monday says that it does affect the players, particularly the one against Ipswich, because it was quiet and it was negative atmosphere, to be fair, certainly in the first half. Is that something? So in the past you said, well, it shouldn't really make a difference, but do you think it has made a difference?
I think it has, because you can sense the nervousness, and as a player, I've played in games quite a lot where you're not being as confident as you are sometimes, and you'll take the easy option, and instead of taking responsibility, getting on the ball and making a difficult 15-20 yard pass that might not work out, you'll hit a hopeful ball and think, well, you go and get after that and we'll just take it from there. That's a safety option. But when you're confident and positive in everything you'll do, you'll try things that you're not worried about if it goes astray, and that's what we have to be. The players have to be brave on the ball, try things, and hopefully there isn't a reaction if somebody gives it away. But they're only human beings, and supporters are human beings with feelings as well.
Are you disappointed how the team have started games? Because I think if you're looking at just the second half result, I think Leeds are top or second.
Yeah.
But it has been a feature of this season that it's been a slow start. You get to half time and think, well, not much has really happened there.
It's not good for your health, is it?
No, it isn't. Not at times when you sort of have to keep going at half time and saying one or two choice words. But it's a mental state sometimes. We try and prepare the team as well as we can do with the work that we do. To do the warm-ups, you look into that, do you change that around? You're looking at every little thing to make you better, and sometimes it's a mental side of the game that the players have to think, well, it's our responsibility now. We've got to sort of do whatever it takes to go and have a positive start. But the one thing you don't want to do is have a real gung-ho attitude in a game and suddenly find yourself 1 or 2 down before half-time. The best option is to try and be positive and make sure that you're still very sort of professional in your performance as well. But we know we need to start games better because it can then lead us on for better things. But again, you can't fault the players' character and desire and attitude to where they come from second half performances, because they keep coming from goals behind and going to the very end, and that's great to have within the team.
Anything fresh injury-wise?
No, I think everybody's fine. Lee Bromby's trained yesterday, so that's positive, him coming back. I think that's really it, really. No, I think everybody... Mika Varen's back training. He sort of had a week off with his groins again. So, we've got a good squad to choose from now.
How
having that extra time where it's Fabian Del Ferdinand really, because he had a quiet day.
Yeah, well, it was a difficult start for him. It was a difficult start for Mikel Forsell, the way that we played, and that was difficult for both them players. But Fabel he's been on the training pitch a bit this week with us and getting back into it. And it was all a rush job, wasn't it? He joined in on the Friday, and as much as you feel comfortable in your environment, it's a group of players that he's not sort of trained with much or really knows, apart from Eddie White and Tom Lees and Snodgrass, who were here originally. So we've had a good week on the training pitch with everybody, and hopefully that can be reflective in the performance on Tuesday night.
One thing to clear up, did Leeds win the toss against Ipswich? Because there was a lot of upset on the cop that Leeds attacked the other way. Was that just something?
No, I think there must have been Ipswich, and a few teams have done that this year as well.
I know it's a tactical exercise, but there was
because
suggestion that Leeds did win.
I wouldn't have thought so, no. But seeing as we won 3-1, I think we might go for that one as well. Do you want to ask me about Alan Smith?
Yeah. Alan Smith.
No comment.
Did you go back in for him or not? Or
No.
was it...
But obviously there was a lot of speculation about him over the summer. He's a player that we've thought about many times and weighed up the response that we would get, but purely from a football reason, was it a good decision to do? Well, not. It was difficult because Alan's not played much football this year, so it was difficult to bring him back, knowing that he'd not played a great deal of football this year. He's probably trained a lot and been very fit. Put that against the financial aspect of it, it would have been a big gamble for us, because believe me, we wouldn't have got Alan Smith for £2,500 a week, that is for sure. It'd have been probably another naught on the end if we had to do it. But that's the reason, and it's great that Alan's going to go out to MK Dons. And I saw the MK Dons manager on Saturday, and he was absolutely buzzing that he's got a players of Alan's quality and experience. Obviously Alan's contract runs down in the summer, and it's the best thing that he can do is go and get some football, and it shows what he wants to do by playing football. And so it wasn't something that we ever went back in for, but it's obviously something that I'll keep an eye on over the next few weeks and months.
I know you said during the summer that what the fans, if fans were against him, that wouldn't come into your thinking, but did that this time, in the fact that off the field it's not a happy place at the moment? Do you think somebody coming in like Alan, he would split the support, no matter what anybody says?
I didn't really get that far, to be fair, because we our first target in the midfield area was to get Fabian back, and hence why that's what we did. And we brought a few more ex-players back. It looked like we were going down the line of bringing Eddie and Lash back out of retirement as well, which wouldn't be a bad thing, I suppose. So it wasn't something that we really discussed it to that matter of length. We probably discussed it more in the summer, really, than we have done recently.
His name, Jermaine Beckford, was thrown into the frame last week by the chairman.
I just think it's somebody sort of being a bit mischievous, basically. Jermaine had been sub a little bit for Leicester and not probably the best of starts, and somebody probably said, do you want to take him back? But that happens all the time. We've been off players and you think, well, there's no chance of us getting him out. Jermaine's back in the Leicester team and scoring loads of goals, so like that was never a goal anywhere.